What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball, and I've got a very special treat for all of you guys today. This is my official 2025 NBA Draft Big Board. This is a real thing that I've created, that I've done professionally, and I'm here to share it with you guys today. And please don't skip ahead in the video right now. There's a lot of details that we got to go over before we start talking about these guys, but just a quick plug, and then we're going to talk about it. So don't skip ahead. Don't you dare skip it. I'm going to take a look at the statistics. But anyway, hey, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment to my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. Go show some love to the other videos out here. Ideal offseason is almost complete. Only 2 teams left, and this right here is the first video of draft week. You guys are getting draft-related content all week because the NBA draft is next week, which is super, super exciting. But yeah, let's start talking about the stuff that you guys care about. Alrighty, y'all, let's talk about big boards, and please don't skip ahead. I want to talk about some things before we actually go and get into this. So your boy just got back from doing some work and everything. I haven't recorded in like over a week, which feels kind of weird. We've been ahead on content for so long, and so now I'm finally recording this stuff. It's Saturday the 14th as we speak, but I want to share kind of what it is that we're looking at right here when it comes to big boards. What's this video going to look like? There's a lot of context involved with this video, so I just want to give you guys some information before we go ahead and get started. This is going to be a really good video. Just kind of kick back and relax too. Maybe this one will be a little bit longer than my typical videos. There's going to be a lot of talking. It's not going to be the most visually stimulating thing ever. I just kind of threw together this spreadsheet to kind of help share it in a more official way. I can't give you guys like the full-on report that I have because that's technically proprietary stuff for my company or whatever, but I can share my thoughts here with you guys in kind of this shorter, slimmed-down version. But yeah, just so that you guys know, it's going to be a lot of talking, not the most visually stimulating thing. I think it's important to talk about what is a big board. What is the point of this? Because I know otherwise I'm going to get some stupid-ass comments of people being like, AVC, why do you think this? Well, no, you didn't listen, so now you don't get to know. So a big board is, Let's first talk about what it's not. I talked about this a bit on the Discord, and I've got notes that I'm reading off of here to make sure that I tell this all accurately. A big board is not to tell you which player is currently better than which player. It's not going to tell you which player will eventually be better than which player, and it's not to tell you who to draft and where. A big board, and what it's supposed to be, is it's supposed to tell you, like, hey, this is the order in which I want the opportunity to coach and develop these players, right? It's basically an order of kind of who you like the most. Like, who would you like to draft first, second, third, like, and you want the chance to develop them, kind of explore their journey, right? You want to kind of be a part of it. And that's kind of the point of it. So how do we use this professionally, right? I work for a team where they actually say, like, hey, make us your big board, turn it in, and we're going to use this to make a team big board, right? All the scouts come together, we all have our big boards, and then we come together and we kind of make a team big board, right? And those are much more applicable because they take into account actual team needs and stuff, but we use these to inform our own opinions about individual players and kind of go from there. So that's kind of an important distinction with things. This is not catered to any specific team or organization. Maybe you guys are getting sick of seeing Alex Tui on the screen. You want to see all the other ones. I know. Please don't skip ahead. I want to make sure I express all of this because what you're seeing here is something that I created via my company, right? It's a lot of hours of film that, like, I have watched. I've turned this in. This is my actual ranking, and I don't get to share a lot of this stuff with you guys on YouTube because I try to really keep it separate, but this really isn't a big deal. It's not sharing anything in particular about the team that I work for or anything like that because these are just my opinions. And I hope that after you guys watch this video, that you don't take these as the final opinions that you use to kind of justify what should or shouldn't happen on draft day. You should go and find more thoughts, more opinions, because I'm not going to be right about everything, and I just shouldn't be the only person's thoughts that you consume on a day-to-day basis. As far as the notes that you're seeing over here, how I went about making like my big board and stuff, I used some AI, and I want to explain what that means because I'm not having AI come up with my thoughts for me, right? But I want to clear this up. So when I'm watching film, I used to just like take notes, yada, 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 watch film, write stuff down, and eventually I format it into the thing that I turn into teams. With AI, now what I can do is I can just turn on the voice mode, and I can be like, hey, I'm watching this person, I'm just going to talk as I see things because I just find that a much better way for me to think and operate. And then at the end, I'm like, hey, take all of my thoughts, format it together, and fill out the template that I have, which is super convenient, saves me a bunch of time. I'm actually a pretty good writer generally, but this is just way easier, way more simple. And so the words that you're seeing over here, while not ones that I directly typed up, I just use like my same little AI kind of agent that I have to say, hey, can you just give me like a couple of the strengths and weaknesses I listed out so that people have something to read on the screen if they really do want to take some time to take a look at it. So that's what you're seeing here. But anyway, with all that kind of background in mind, hopefully you guys understand the order at which this is in, and all of that stuff. Hopefully this kind of clears up how this was created. I know this is a bit of a spiel, so apologies about that. You might also be wondering why there's not 60 names on here. There are 48. Well, the short answer to that is I tend not to make a 60-person list. The team that I work for, and typically what people do is they make a list of 60. I will often say, hey, if there's not 60 guys that I think are worth drafting, then I'm not going to put them on the list. I don't want us to waste our time with them. And here's what that means, right? Just because they're not on this list doesn't mean that I don't think they can make it as an NBA player. I just think it's unlikely to the point of which I don't think it's worth drafting at that point. So just know all of this context. I know I'm kind of rambling right now. I'll make sure to make a chapter for this as well in the video, but hopefully all this context kind of helps inform you guys. I really want this video to do like solid, because this is the closest that you guys are ever actually going to see of like my business and my thought process and stuff. So without further ado, let's get into this, man. Let's work from the bottom. Alrighty, y'all. So number 48, Alex Tui out of Australia, a wing. We're going to be talking about some of the notes here for each individual person. We're going to talk about a couple key strengths that are listed out here, and then a couple of the key weaknesses that I've pointed out. So first thing for Mr. Tui here, 3 things that I really like about him. I think he's an instinctive team defender. I think he's got positional versatility on defense as well, and then I think he's a really quick decision maker. Let's talk about those quickly. Instinctive team defender. I think he's got a lot of just like general defensive awareness that's above his years. Part of that's probably because he's been playing professional basketball. The NBL is very competitive. They've got some really good teams over there. They're teaching him the right way to play. So it's cool to see he has this kind of situational awareness kind of already figured out. I think he's got a lot of positional versatility, in large part due to like he's pretty strong already. He's got some pretty good lateral quickness that he can move with. I think that'll help him in a lot of switch defenses. So if you've got this smart guy that's got good size, some pretty solid quickness, I think he's going to be able to keep people in front of him really well and play in a lot of different NBA type of defenses, which is nice. And then just in general, he's a quick decision maker. It's one thing to be smart and know what's going on. It's another thing to process it in real time. So what I think is really nice is that you've got a smart guy that reacts really quickly to things, and he's got a pretty good body. Like, that's really nice. As far as weaknesses go, we've got limited shooting versatility. I'm going to say, in my perception, kind of a low offensive ceiling, and then kind of a narrow developmental pathway. So let me make sure I explain all of these. I think his mechanics overall as a shooter are pretty good, but when I say limited shooting versatility, what that really means is like he's kind of a set shooter. As soon as you start to ask him to do a lot else right now, and by the way, all these guys, like, I hope it's clear. I want them all to be successful. I want them all to be good. I think all of them can be really good, right? It's just different likelihoods, right? It seems to be a challenge for him to be like on the move and be a shooter. And so I have a little bit of hesitation in that, in him being like a large volume shooter in some capacity. So the 3-and-D hopes are a little bit scary. We're saying low offensive ceiling, like he doesn't really do much off the dribble right now. He's not really getting to the rim like anything crazy in transition. He's really not that bad, but I don't see him really creating much for himself, which, you know, isn't always the worst thing. Not everyone has to have the basketball the whole time, but just something I'm pointing out. And then narrow developmental pathway. So let me read out the actual notes here. We'll need to maximize his role player traits, especially close out attacking and the connecting passes if he wants to carve out like a larger NBA role for a long time, as the margin for error is thin without like his elite shot creation or shooting right now. So basically what I'm saying is, hey, he's not actually like that great at anything offensively, so he's gonna need to be really crisp with all the little connecting points on offense right away if he wants to last at all. Otherwise, people are just going to forget about you and you're going to drop off the face of the earth. So take these notes as you will with Alex Tui. He's kind of the last guy that I decided to squeeze onto this list. But yeah, obviously, if I put him on here, I think he's worth taking with a draft pick and worth trying out. Let's move up and talk about number 47, Hunter Salas, the Wake Forest guard. Dude's been a bucket in college basketball for quite some time now. A couple of strengths here. Smooth offensive game is what I'm going to say. Mid-range scoring craft. And then flashes of secondary creation. By the way, not every player is going to have like 3 and 3. I guess you can even kind of see here. Actually, no, they might just be hidden right now. Yeah, they're hidden. I didn't format this perfectly. But I just listed what I thought was prominent for each person. So smooth offensive game. He plays with good pace. He's a little bit older of a guy, right? He's a senior, which is what you expect. Like, dude knows how to get a bucket. He's got some natural handle and footwork to him to where I think he can be a solid shot creator in and of itself for him. He's got a professional kind of style of scoring, which is awesome. Mid-range scoring craft, like, yeah, if he gets to the mid-range and he kind of gets to his spots, dude's a walking bucket. That's apparent. Nothing's going to stop him from being able to do that if he wants to. Flashes of secondary creation. So what I wrote there is, while he's not a primary initiator, Salas can operate out of ball screens and create offense when attacking tilted defenses, making him a potential fit as a scoring combo guard off the bench. So he doesn't always have to be like the primary creator. He can do things without the basketball as well, which is good because he's not really a point guard per se, right? So this guy can score in a lot of different ways. He's smooth with it. He's got reliable spots in the court that he can get to and be really effective from, which is awesome. Like, if you were to draft this guy, you're drafting him for offense. If we were to talk about weaknesses here, lacks physicality in his frame, struggles against contact. Those are kind of connected. And then defensive impact is just overall inconsistent, which all these can kind of be drawn together, but they are a little bit different. So he's pretty small, right? He's got one of those skinnier frames. I think it's important to understand most people, when they're coming out of college into the NBA or wherever, they're skinny, right? Because that's just how biology works. Like, think about Jason Tatum. When he came into the NBA, he was much skinnier than he is now. There's just a lot of growth and development that happens between like being 19, 20, 21, 22 to when you're like 24, 25. There's a really substantial difference in that. And so when you look at all these skinny guys, no, a lot of them will get bigger, but there are different body types. There's ectomorphic people, endomorphic, mesomorphic people, and it's important to understand those differentiations so that you can tell where they're going to develop into. He's got more of this wiry frame, and he hasn't really put on any weight at all since getting to college. So this tells us, and you probably could tell just by looking at him, that he's just not going to ever be a very bulky person, and that just will affect you at a certain point, right? As if people keep putting shoulders into you and you can't take it, well, you're going to be limited at times. Struggles against contact. This is more of an offensive thing. His wiry build makes him vulnerable to physical defenders on both ends. It doesn't really let him get to the rim much right now. This guy kind of purely feels like he's going to be a jump shooter unless he can learn to play off two a little bit better, just get a little bit stronger somehow in his lower half. It's just going to limit him in trying to go to the hoop. So this guy that you're drafting for offense can only do certain aspects of offense right now. And then defensive impact is inconsistent. I wrote, while he's a fluid mover, his thin frame and average anticipation skills prevent him from being a difference maker. He needs to improve his engagement and toughness on the ball. He didn't seem very defensively engaged at all times to me, which, again, that's not really why he's on the basketball court. He's out there to be a scorer, but obviously, if you want to make like a larger impact, you're going to have to learn how to play offensive or defensive basketball at some point. So that's Hunter Salas. Let's move on to 46. We have Cam Jones all the way down here. Might be a surprise to you guys. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, by the way. So hopefully this isn't too long for you guys. I didn't really do something like this last year. Cam Jones from Marquette. Notes: strengths, versatile offensive weapon, and then high feel, low turnover guard. Versatile offensive weapon, I just wrote, Jones has thrived in a wide variety of offensive roles. Sometimes he's played with guards that have the ball the whole time. Sometimes he's the lead ball handler. He thrived in both of those offensively, which is super, super cool. He can he can shoot off the catch, create off the bounce. He can be the secondary or primary ball handler. That's cool. High feel, low turnover guard. Like, he's never really over dribbling, and he's consistently making choices with the ball that typically benefit the team. That's awesome. He keeps the turnovers low. That's what you want out of a more mature point guard. Weaknesses: limited physical tools defensively, and then offensive impact is really tied to the success of his jump shot. he doesn't really have ideal size or agility to play the guard position that you would want in terms of just being a creator or even being, as I noted here, a defensive player. It makes him vulnerable to point of attack situations. I always feel like the point of attack term is a little bit used too much nowadays, but it is important, right? Like we all watched Reed Shepherd this year, who people thought, oh, he's going to be such a good defender, and because like he just can't take some contact, it makes it a lot harder. So it's nice that people are starting to understand that, and I think we could have a similar problem here. He's a little bit bigger, but it'd still be a concern. And then I wrote for the jumper stuff. Given his defensive limitations, Jones must be a dependable shooter to carve out a role. If his jumper proves streaky or ineffective beyond NBA range, his margin for error narrows considerably. Because yeah, that's his offense right now. Is he can hit some tough jump shots. He has been pretty effective with his jumper for the most part. But if that dips off even a little bit, you've got a lot of concerns, right? Because then what do you have to turn to next as a player? And he didn't get a ton of great separation as a shot creator either. So he's going to be defended better by more athletic people, bigger people. Now all of a sudden, if you can't hit those tough jump shots, well, what's kind of the point then, right? And I feel bad being harsh about that, but that's just the reality. Most of these guys are not going to make it, right? That's an important thing to remember going into these drafts, is most of these guys are just not going to make it. And I know I probably have Cam Jones a lot lower than a lot of people do, but that's just it's my perception as of right now. Let's move on to 45. We have Mr. Ryan Nembhard. Shout out Andrew Nembhard's been playing great. I just watched game 4 of the finals last night. Another phenomenal game. It's been awesome to watch. But senior guard out of Gonzaga. A couple cool things to note about his strengths. Elite playmaker with precision passing. That one probably doesn't surprise people. And then team first mentality. A lot of winning instincts, much like his brother. I said Nembhard's one of the smartest distributors in this draft class. Like, he's really manipulating the offense. He controls the whole thing. Super, super smart. He led the nation in like assists or whatever. And so he's really putting his teammates in a good spot to succeed. Team first mentality. He brings a calm, unselfish presence. Kind of reminds me of like a Tyus and a Trey Jones, right? He thrives in a very structured system where he can just kind of run the show and be like, hey, you need to be there. You need to be there. You need to be there. So if you put him in a system where you just need to get shit done, I think you're going to get someone that's not going to turn over the ball. He's going to make his teammates better, and he's just going to play basketball the right way. Weaknesses: undersized for the position, lacks scoring gravity, and limited athleticism. Dude's pretty small overall. Like, I wrote 6 foot here. I doubt he's like actually 6 foot. He doesn't really have strength or like a lot of strength or length or anything like that. He's just gonna get targeted, unlike his brother, who's a bit bigger. He doesn't really have any scoring gravity. That just means it doesn't look like he's looking to score at all. So teams are at some point just going to sag off of him, and it's going to make it harder for your offense, even if he is trying to run things the right way. He doesn't put pressure on the rim, or he doesn't really shoot from deep much. So yeah, defenses are just going to eventually give up on trying to guard you. Limited athleticism. He doesn't really have that burst or consistency to beat defenders off the dribble, or like that vertical. Like, at least like TJ McConnell's like really quick, right? Like, that's something that he kind of has going for him. I don't really see that out of Ryan Nembhard. I don't see like an elite like ball handling package that he can go to create some separation and really get some people some open looks. So those are some of the things to note with him. You got basically a really smart guy that you wonder how much of that can really translate to the NBA without having like some natural ability to go along with it. So yeah. That's Mr. Nembhard. Let's move up to 44. We've got another point guard here with Javon Small from West Virginia. Maybe a more unknown player if you haven't been watching the draft quite as much. Another senior level player as well. Some strengths. He's a very capable shooter, and flashes of dynamic creation is what it was titled. Again, I didn't really come up with these titles as much when the AI like summarized things for me. I just went through and like changed things that like I didn't think made sense, or they were worded kind of funny. But capable shooter, shows promise as a spot up threat, which is critical for guards who don't always initiate offense at the NBA level. That's the thing. Like, he doesn't always have the ball the whole time. Sometimes he is off the basketball, and as a smaller guy, well, that can be a little bit iffy at times, right? That's the whole Jace Richardson thing that we'll talk about. Flashes of dynamic creation, has moments where he creates separation, or he can get downhill with quick bursts, giving him potential to pressure defenses when attacking closeouts or in transition. Because he's super athletic, right? He's a really, really good athlete. He's got like a stronger build than you might think. He's kind of got like that Ja Morant type build to him, and so like he's shown moments where it's like, okay, like I can really do this. I can get to the rim. I can create things at a higher level. You just don't get to see it enough to be super excited about it. Weaknesses: questionable decision making and inconsistent engagement, which are not gonna lie, those are two things you really don't want to see as weaknesses on somebody's big board. Needs to clean up on the passing reads and the shot selection. Has a tendency to force plays rather than make the simple, efficient read. Which, look, a lot of young guys have. You don't like to see it out of your senior level players, though. Is kind of the problem here. I expect it out of freshmen. Like, that's because you're just young. You don't know any better, and college coaches aren't always the best at teaching you either. But you're a senior. You've been here that long. You're still kind of making those kind of freshman mistakes that worries me a little bit. And then inconsistent engagement. Needs to become a more reliable possession-to-possession player on both ends, especially if he's going to earn trust in a backup role. I'm not gonna lie, I just felt like he took plays off during the season. I mean, I've watched every second of all of these guys this year, and it felt like time he was checking out a little bit to me, which that's a simple thing to fix, right? That's a decision that you can make. And so if we can get rid of that and maybe we can work on getting downhill a little bit more, then yeah, we might have something interesting. But man, super talented, super talented guard here. So that's 44, Javon Small. Number 43, Ryan Kalkbrenner, center out of Creighton, another senior here. Some notes, some strengths about Mr. Kalkbrenner: elite rim protection and instincts and high defensive processing speed is what I've said. I wrote he anchors the paint with exceptional timing, vertical positioning, and shot deterrence, among the most polished interior defenders in the class. It's one thing to be tall and it's coordinated enough to go up and block shots. It's another thing to have kind of all the little fundamental sides of the game down, because it's not that simple, right? He really does it the right way. He's always straight up. He's always right where he needs to be. He understands positioning and spacing really well. He's like, okay, I can jump into this kind of drop coverage and play the way that I need to play. It's very effective defense. And then I also wrote for the processing speed, operates with discipline and drop coverage. We already kind of talked about that. Anticipates rotations with veteran level awareness. He just understands what's going on defense really well, right? He knows where to be. He's got the fundamentals down. He's got the size to actually make an impact with it. So you should be getting a solid defensive player out of him. Some of the weaknesses: limited mobility in space. Then we have shooting remains speculative at most. And then constrained developmental ceiling. Let's talk about each of those. Limited mobility. The lateral movement and recovery speed are concerns, and switch-heavy, aggressive coverage schemes. Like, I'd be really worried throwing him out there against a team like the Pacers, right? Or like the Thunder, who drive and kick. He just does not have the ability to really switch out of anything. Drop coverage is where he kind of needs to exist, just because of his limited athleticism, and so that does limit you in the types of defenses that you can run. Shooting remains speculative. He's shown flashes, but there's nothing there for me to be like, yeah, I believe it's going to be there at an NBA level, right? I mean, maybe it'll be there, but right now I'm just kind of like, I don't know. And then constrained developmental ceiling. He's older. He's very scheme specific. His long-term upside is probably capped as a high-end backup, which isn't the worst thing, right? Not everybody's got a ceiling of like all NBA type of player, and I'm not saying that he can't do it. I just think it's probably more unlikely than some of the other people that we're taking a look at. So with Kalkbrenner, if you're running a very specific scheme, I think he can be useful overall, though I do think it's a very fit specific type of player. So yeah, plug into a very specific system. Otherwise, not sure you're getting what you're looking for there. And by the way, I'm going to be very skeptical with a lot of players on here, so just be prepared for that, because that's my job. Number 42, Mark Sears out of Alabama, point guard, senior. Strengths: proven high-level producer, skilled shot creator, and composed floor general. You can probably figure out what all those means, but dude's like been getting buckets at the highest level now in the country for some time. He can play in modern systems, pace and space type things. He's delivering under pressure in big moments. Like, that's awesome, right? Like, we know that this guy's calm, cool, and collective. Skilled shot creator. He can generate offense for himself and others in the pick and roll, utilizing craftiness, hesitations. He's got a good jumper on him. Keeps defenses off balance, which is good. He's a smaller guard. You want him to kind of create a little bit more offense that way. And then a good floor general. He's got a lot of poise with the ball. He doesn't really get rushed ever, which again, that's the stuff you expect from the older people. We kind of talked about Javon Small, that being a problem. Understands how to manipulate defenses up. He's really reading the game, and then kind of reacting to things as they come. I think that's a really, really great skill to have, and why I look at him as like he could be an impact like backup guard, like day one. He very well could be. Weaknesses: undersized for NBA standards, minimal defensive impact, and limited upside projection. Dude's very small. I think we can all tell that just by looking at him, and he's just going to have physical disadvantages. Pretty simple, right? It's just is what it is when you're small. We had a discussion on the Discord because we were reading like somebody's kind of like draft analysis or whatever, and they were like, hey, if you're under 6'4", you basically should be really, really good at offense because it's really, really hard to be impactful defensively. And like you just won't get on the court. That's just inherently not correct. Like, first of all, there's good defensive players in the NBA that are below 6'4", right? I mean, it doesn't take much to think of a couple of those guys, right? But overall, yes, like being smaller does make it harder to play defense. That is for certain. But mostly what we came to a conclusion with in that discussion is that, hey, if you're not very good at defense, you should be really good at offense. Otherwise, you're not going to get on the court. If you're really good, or if you're not very good at offense, you should be really good at defense, right? That's just kind of how it should work. There needs to be this equilibrium of you needing to just be good at basketball to be on the court. Anyway, minimal defensive impact, like we kind of already talked about that with the other one. And then limited upside projection. He's already 23 years old. He's not probably going to get much bigger, stronger, faster, anything like that. He probably can carve out a role as a backup for that reason, but there's little indication that he's probably going to get much better than that. So probably just going to be a shot creator off the bench. Guys like this are typically like 9th, 10th men in the NBA, so maybe not the highest ceiling, but could be impactful right away. So that's my thoughts on Mark Sears. I do think he'd be a solid draft pick, though. Next, number 41, Yannick Conan Niederhauser. I believe is how you say Niederhauser. I don't necessarily remember. Penn State junior center. Kind of a relatively unknown guy before coming to the combine and everything, but I've watched him and I've got some notes. Again, by the way, if you didn't watch the intro and you're curious why these guys are in the order that they are, please go back and watch the intro. I know it's a little bit fucked and scatterbrained, but you'll get the idea if you go watch it. Strengths for Mr. Yannick here. Prototypical modern rim runner, and he's got some elite physical tools. Basically, he's a good athlete. So let's start off with the prototypical modern rim runner. He excels in a very defined role as a vertical lob threat. He sets screens, and he's an interior finisher. That's what he does well, right? He's got good athletic tools and potentially a motor that can cleanly translate as like an NBA play finisher, right? Think of like what Jackson Hayes, what we want him to be. That's kind of my comp for him, right? He's got the physical tools. He's big. Like, he's got good leaping ability. He's got vertical pop and everything. That's cool. Weaknesses: underdeveloped defensive feel. He's not really good with like angles and timing and things, which again, like college doesn't always do a great job of teaching you that. Like as much as we want to think that it's like elite basketball, there's a really big skill gap between like college and NBA stuff. There just is, and there aren't always the best teachers for that. But right now, he does not have very good defensive feel. He's got the capability of being an impact defender, though. And then I wrote, he lacks urgency and intensity. Too often plays with a passive demeanor that kind of causes the elite athleticism to not have as much shine, because sometimes it just felt like he was kind of walking around on the court, not really being where he needs to be. I think if some of the rest of us were like that big and could move like that, we'd be like, oh boy, like let's go get something done, right? Like let's go out there and block some shots, dunk on some people. And it just doesn't always feel like he's got that go to him. But sometimes when he does get motivated, it looks really good. But I have to point out the fact that it's just not there all the time. So I don't know. Is what it is. So that's number 41, Mr. Yannick here. Alrighty, number 40, Hansen Yang, another big man here. Let's talk about, and it's interesting that these two are kind of like right after each other, right? Because they're a good comparison. Hansen Yang, strengths: elite touch and feel for the game, soft hands and interior skill, rare size and floor spacing potential, just in general. We're saying he's a pretty good passer. He's got legitimate vision for how to work out of the high post and maybe like some short roll situations from some of the film that I saw like overseas. He processes the game pretty quick, which is awesome to have in centers nowadays, right? We see some of the best offenses sometimes run through centers. He's got soft hands and interior skills. He is very controlled when he has the basketball, which is really, really cool. He's able to do some crafty things with the basketball. That's awesome. And then rare size and floor spacing potential. Big ass kid, right? Really, really big kid. There's just not many of those people that exist. And we've seen him kind of experiment with being an outside shooter at times. That's going to create a lot of matchup issues. That's just crazy potential in and of itself. Weaknesses: doesn't really have functional strength, and he's just plain not NBA ready at this moment, is what I'm saying. I know that's kind of just outright maybe mean, but I wanted to be clear with that. I said, despite his size, Yang isn't able to displace defenders or carve out space like most successful bigs with his frame. He plays upright. He struggles to win physical positioning battles. He just doesn't really know how to use his strength much right now. I think it's It's a slight development issue on somebody's part. He just doesn't quite know what to do with his body. And then I wrote, he needs to continue developing overseas. The feel is real, but until he becomes stronger, more mobile, and a more credible shooter, it's kind of hard to see how he's going to be able to compete with NBA athletes at all. Just because I see him struggling with just such lesser talent at times. I'm like, there is something here. I just don't think it's ready right now. I don't think I could throw him on an NBA team right now and not crush his confidence completely. So I think there's something there long term. I just kind of let him develop overseas for a little bit. But yeah, that's number 40, Hanson Yang. Hopefully you guys are leaving comments and stuff about your thoughts on this. Let's keep it all collaborative in the comments today. Number 39, Tyrese Proctor, Duke Jr. guard. Strengths: polished perimeter shooter, smooth positional fit as a combo guard. He's gotten to be a much better shooter since he got to college basketball. We kind of thought he was going to be one and done, but he decided to stick around, and he's gotten a lot better at the shooting, which is awesome, especially without the basketball. And then I'm like, he's kind of this prototypical combo guard. It's exactly what you want a combo guard to look like. He's got some solid size. He can handle the ball a little bit, can play without the ball. Like, it's very much something that we're used to looking at, so we know how to develop him. Let's see, I said he's got enough feel to reliably be a secondary ball handler and complement star players. That could be good for when you've got like a really dominant two guard or something, say like Devin Booker, and you might want someone that can guard a point guard, but he doesn't necessarily need the ball on offense. That could be where a Tyrese Proctor comes into play. Weaknesses: lacks physical strength, limited rim pressure, and unclear defensive role. I said currently too slight to handle a lot of physicality on point of attack. Like, I do think that could be fixed. I feel like he could get a lot stronger, but I'm like, he was at Duke, so you would think that they'd be doing a pretty good job of that, but something to see there. Doesn't consistently get downhill or generate contact in the paint, which is going to reduce his offensive impact, which not everybody has to be that way, but obviously it makes you better if you can do that. And unclear defensive role, I wrote, while he's tactically sound, his lack of strength and physical presence could make him a liability against stronger NBA guards unless his frame is actually going to fill out a little bit more. So again, while he seems to be in the right spots at all times, I'm not sure exactly if he's going to be able to stop somebody when offenses break down and all of a sudden they're, all right, I'm going one-on-one at you, right? Okay, so then where does he fit in? Is he actually as valuable as we think he is on defense? I don't know. But overall, I think promising combo guard that could come in. Should be interesting for somebody to take. But yeah, that's number 39. Number 38, Rocco Zikarsky out of Australia, a center. For strengths: elite size and frame, and he's a natural rim deterrent. 7'3", he's coordinated. That's great in and of itself. That sounds awesome. Zikarsky possesses rare physical tools that few other prospects can match. His measurables alone make him intriguing, and that's why I got him here, right? Because this guy really didn't see many minutes in a very competitive league, and so we're kind of just looking at, okay, crazy physical specimen in and of itself, and that's interesting. Natural rim deterrent. His sheer height and length and timing, he's gonna block some shots, right? Just being that big and that coordinated and having at least a little bit of awareness, dude's gonna block some shots. He's gonna make people think twice before going to the rim. That's awesome. I said extremely raw and unrefined for a weakness, not a playmaker or offensive hub at all. Long developmental timeline. So his current production is far from his actual potential. He's just not even doing much in the NBL right now, which just is lesser competition than the NBA, so they can't even really trust him to be out there right now. He's not a playmaker, offensive hub. He does nothing like for himself on the offense. He's solely just, I'm going to catch the ball and dunk it. That's what he's going to do right now. There's not much else going on for him offensively. And then long developmental timeline, I wrote, he could be years away from being NBA ready, like he really could be, considering he just can't even get on the floor right now. We probably have to be patient if we're going to take him. It's going to be a long developmental timeline, but hey, like I said, just being that big and that athletic, it might be worth taking a flyer. So that's my thoughts on Mr. Rocco Zikarsky. Number 37, another center here, Joan Beringer out of France, a guy that we actually did a video on. Is this the first guy? No, we did a Cam Jones video as well. If you guys didn't watch this series, by the way, I'm curious if by the end of this video, if we'll be at 7,000 subscribers. Where are we at right now? Still 6.99. I take it we need like 4 more or something. We'll check at the end of the video. But if you didn't watch my, like, do they fit in the NBA video series that's right here. We've got 34 of those videos, and Joan was one of them. Strengths: elite functional mobility for size, physical tools with developmental upside, high character foundation. So I said he moves with a rare twitch and fluidity for a big, which that's just going to make it interesting in and of itself, right? This guy hasn't played basketball for very long, so the expectations are pretty low, but you see a guy that big and that fluid with his movements, that's exciting. Physical tools with developmental upside. He's got a really good like bend and coordination. I'm kind of talking about like his functional movements again still, but you just don't see guys at that size that can kind of move with such fluidity like he does in a lot of different directions, which I think is cool. It makes him a good rim protector and lob threat, which is probably what he would be at the NBA if he fully maxed out his potential. And then high character foundation, well regarded for his maturity and approach. That's just me talking to some other scouts, and I just hear that high character guy works his ass off. Like everyone's kind of saying that about him, so I'm like, okay, that's great, especially for a more raw product. Some weaknesses: extremely raw processing speed, unrefined skill set, and long-term project status. Struggles to read the game in real time. He's new to basketball, right? He doesn't see things right now, and it's just because he hasn't played enough basketball. Maybe he'll figure it out with time, but as of right now, he just doesn't have the feel. Unrefined skill set, again, he doesn't have an idea of where to be on offense really either. There's no real shooting touches that's been developed or kind of figured out. It's just dunking the basketball. That's really what it is on offense right now. He's big, and if he catches the ball into the rim or you throw it up to him, he can go jump up and dunk it. Long-term project status, he's going to require a lot of patience, just like Zakarski here. There's enough to be excited about physically to where it's worth taking a flyer, but this guy's not going to be ready day one, probably even second year. Maybe you start to see something third year with this guy. So probably going to be a longer term project. Moving on to number 36, Drake Powell. This guy could potentially be a first round guy for all we know, but he's a freshman, kind of a wing out of North Carolina. Some strengths that I have: elite point of attack defender and high defensive IQ is what I'm writing. So two things defensively. I'm saying exhibits exceptional lateral quickness and balance. He's got a really strong kind of body and frame, especially for a freshman. He can neutralize ball handlers with quick reaction and strong positioning. Very, very cool stuff. I trust that you can go out there and you're just basically not going to be a bitch. You're going to be able to keep people in front of you. You got quickness, you got a little strength to you. Awesome. Defensive IQ, notable off-ball discipline and awareness, especially for his age and experience level. Not playing with a lot of great players necessarily at North Carolina this last year in kind of a weird and chaotic system. A lot of maturity on that end, so I was really impressed. Weaknesses: severely underdeveloped offensive game and unreliable shooting mechanics. So I said he's kind of struggling to contribute meaningfully on the offensive end due to his lack of kind of scoring instincts. He just doesn't look like he knows what to do on that end, versus the defensive end is like a completely different story. And then I said unreliable shooting mechanics. He lacks the confidence and rhythm as a perimeter shooter, has difficulty getting into his shot quickly or consistently, particularly off movement or under pressure. While he shot an okay percentage overall, there was just some really inconsistent times where it's like, okay, you're kind of waiting for one particular type of shot to be his go-to, and it just didn't really happen to be anything in particular. So while I think the potential's there, it's currently unreliable. And again, with a not great offensive feel, you kind of wonder, okay, what do we do with you offensively day one? Because I can't just put you out there as a smart defender and you just have nothing to do offensively. So it's that conversation that we were having earlier. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Drake Powell. Moving on to 35, we have Adu Thiero, Arkansas junior wing here. Maybe a forward is a better way to describe him. Some strengths: elite open floor athlete, high motor defensive distributor, and pro ready frame with functional strength. So basically this dude's a crazy athlete. I've been on record saying, like, I think this guy could have gone pro in like any sport. Like, he's just a great athlete. Explosive leaper, he's powerful, he thrives in transition, defensive to offense conversion scenarios, that's his thing. High motor defensive disruptor, he's constantly kind of moving around, Energizer Bunny type of dude, and when you're that big, it's like, oh shit, like you can fuck some shit up when you're doing stuff like that. And I think that's awesome. I think he can play a lot of different positions defensively, playing a lot of different defensive schemes. That's awesome. And then pro ready frame with functional strength. He's ready to go. Like, he is dude's a man already. He's ready to jump in there and hurt some people, right? Which is which is always fun to see people coming in kind of built like that already. Some weaknesses: non-threat as a shooter, limited offensive polish, and reactive, not anticipatory on both ends. So dude's just not a very good shooter right now. Opponents routinely are just sagging off him. He has no gravity out there. People just don't expect him to contribute as a shooter at all. Currently lacks just anything in the half court that he can really do. I've kind of just said it feels like they just kind of throw him out there as an athlete a lot of the times, because he's not actually like doing anything basketball smart, if you would. It's more so he's just out there being a good athlete, running around trying to make things happen. There's just no polish to the game, right? And then reactive, not anticipatory, kind of the same thing. He's just relying on being a great athlete, not necessarily reading the game. So we've got a lot to teach him still before he can be like a true NBA contributor, because you have to be the craziest of crazy athletes to go out in an NBA game and find any level of production. And even then, I might hesitate to say that everyone's just going to take advantage of you if you're just playing basketball like a dummy. So again, somebody's just going to have to take the time to teach him. It's an incredible specimen otherwise, though. So that's 35 Du Thiero. Moving on. This video might take a while. Oh, Lord. Hopefully, this is a good way to help you guys get through your Monday. Number 34, Dink Pate out of the G League. One of the original kind of G League Ignite dudes. Considering him a guard in my analysis. Strengths: intriguing physical tools and flashes of on-the-ball skills. Dude's a 10 out of 10 athlete, right? Incredible athlete. Dude's jumping out of the gym. He's fast. He's strong. Super cool. Like, you just look at that guy and you're like, NBA basketball player. It's awesome. Flashes of on-the-ball skills. He shows occasional glimpses of advanced ball handling skills and passing vision for his size, which is, that's always interesting, right? That always kind of makes you go, ooh, I might want some of that, right? Athlete, good feel for the game offensively sometimes. Cool. Weaknesses: extremely raw across the board and underdeveloped decision-making overall. So I wrote, currently lacks the defined kind of position, a reliable jump shot, a fundamental feel for team defense. It's just hard to figure out what to do with him, because he's just flowing between so many different types of roles right now that it's hard to be like, okay, what am I throwing you on the court to do exactly? And then I wrote, he's struggling with processing speed a little bit, often making poor reads, forcing actions without understanding the floor, balance, or just timing of the game. So while we're seeing glimpses of what he can do with the basketball, overall, he's pretty turnover heavy right now and just not the best decision maker. But he is a younger guy, and that's what you tend to expect more often than not. He's been playing in the G League, which is kind of a crazy one-off instance of basketball in and of itself. So yeah, I don't know, but man, just the reason he's so high is just because like the physical tools, much like Thiero, are just so interesting. So that's why I got him up there. Next, 33, Jace Richardson. This might be lower than what you guys think. Freshman, we're going to call him a shooting guard is what I'm going to call him. Strengths: exceptional touch and body control, and then functional scoring instincts. I say finishes well throughout contact and maintains balance in traffic, demonstrates advanced kind of spatial awareness for a guard of his size. Basically, I'm saying he's pretty smart, and he's got like kind of a lot of the fundamentals down. You expect that out of an NBA player's son for the most part, so no surprises there. Functional scoring instincts: shows the natural ability to find scoring angles with enough craft to exploit gaps when defenses are off balance. Basically, he can get himself open without the basketball. Weaknesses: limited right hand development. We pointed that out in our videos really quickly. He cannot go right at all. He does not use his right hand. He's a lefty. He cannot use his right whatsoever. Underdeveloped pull-up game. I think I'm going to start just listing them off like this instead of listing them all and then going through each of them. Maybe that's better. I don't know. Mid-range and perimeter shot creation off the dribble is inconsistent. Yeah, when you give him the basketball, it's not that great, and for a small guard, that is concerning that you can't put the ball on the floor. Size-dependent projection. As a smaller guard, his margin for error is just a little bit more narrow. NBA success will hinge on system fit and continued growth in self-creation and passing read. So he just needs to become like a better version of what his size is. He needs to become more of a point guard if he really wants to thrive in the NBA. We've kind of filtered out a lot of these smaller two guards in the NBA. It just doesn't quite work. Again, maybe there's a longer term fit of like what we talked about with like Tyrese Proctor, where he's playing off a more dominant two guard, but even still, like, I don't trust this guy to necessarily defend a point guard at the NBA level right now. So something to think about. I'm gonna read one more of these before I like take a break and get some water, because I've been talking for like 45 minutes already, at least for my recording. Number 32, Grant Nelson for Alabama, someone that's probably left off a lot of people's boards, but I've got him on here. If you've been watching the channel at all, you know that I like this guy a lot. Kind of a forward, a senior out of Alabama, like I said. Strengths: functional athleticism for size. He's a really good leaper. I said I was going to go through these one at a time, but all right, let's go through it one at a time. I'm figuring this shit out as I go, y'all. Impressive straight line driver who covers ground really well and finishes with power. So basically, dude's fearless. For being like 6'10", 6'11", like he gets to the rim. Like, dude's big. Like I've been next to him a lot. Like, big ass dude, long ass dude. So, and the fact that he can cover ground so well and he's so functional with doing it is really impressive. And vertical leaper, he's explosive. If you ever watched his highlight reel, dude will go up and punch it on you at that size, which is really cool. You get really flashy plays out of it. Flashes of mismatch creation. At 6'10", shows glimpses of attacking much slower bigs. Like, we've seen that already when people try to put their centers on them. He goes to work. He's like, give me the basketball. I'm taking these guys to church right now, which is super, super cool. And on the smaller guys, he'll put his back into them and make something happen that way. So he knows how to deal with mismatches already, which is what you want to see out of the senior level players. Weaknesses: lacks consistent shooting touch. So basically, like, his jump shot has some really kind of wonkiness to it that it just hasn't resulted in consistent outside shooting, but he sure likes to go to it at times, so maybe someone can work on that. And then unclear role projection. He doesn't check the boxes NBA teams typically want from forwards right now. We're not really looking for players like this right now. I think he's a really interesting specimen, but again, there's just not a lot of people to compare him to right now in the NBA, and that's always going to make things hard because we need an idea, right? It's hard to be creative at all times. Yeah, I'm gonna get some water before I keep this going. Alrighty, I'm back. I just chugged a bunch of apple juice, so that's what we're doing today. Alrighty, let's get back into this. Number 31, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Kobe Brea. We've talked about him a lot on the channel. He's kind of become a meme on the channel because we took him in so many ideal off seasons. But we got a Kentucky senior and we got a wing. Strengths: all-time level shooting profile and off-ball movement gravity. I have no idea how I'm presenting this stuff at this point, so you just gonna have to sit here and listen. That's what we're doing today. Brea's perimeter accuracy is nothing short of historic. Over the past 2 seasons, his combination of volume, efficiency, and consistency places him among the most elite shooters in recent college basketball memory. Dude shoots the shit out of the basketball. And off-ball movement, while it seems like the same thing, he's not stationary. Like, he can move without the ball, relocate, sprinting off screens. Like, he knows how to play with it. Dude should just be a high-impact shooter right away, which is awesome. But there's some downsides to that. Weaknesses: one-dimensional offensive profile. He is not doing much else inside the arc at all, right? So his scoring gravity just plummets completely due to his kind of average burst and maybe limited playmaking. And with that, we have the other weakness, which is translatable impact depends on his elite shooting. If his jumper isn't great at all times, yeah, what do you get out of him then? Because there's not much else going on necessarily right now. So you got this elite shooter. I like to think that maybe we can get an okay defensive player out of him with time, but yeah, if he's not being an elite shooter, then I'm not quite sure what you're getting out of him at this point. But it was enough to put him 31 on my board because, man, can this boy stroke it. He is stroking it. So that's number 31, Kobe Brea. Next one here, number 30, John Tonje. Tonje? I believe it's Tonje here. Wisconsin senior wing here. Strengths: elite free throw and spot-up shooting indicators. Tonje shot great from the free throw line this season and throughout his college career, alongside high three-point volume and success, which is really, really cool. Seems like he has good touch when he plays offensive basketball, which when I watch it, that feels like it can translate to the NBA pretty well. He's comfortable with the ball in his hands. He's not necessarily a primary creator, but he's capable, and he knows how to run basic actions, which is cool. That's what you would expect out of a senior level person. You can tell him, hey, go run this play. He's not going to lose the basketball. He can get himself to his spots and create. And then I wrote physical, rugged, offensive approach. He thrived in college when being able to use his strength. He creates a lot of contact, gets to the free throw line. Maybe you want to call him a free throw merchant or whatever, because that's what we do on the internet, is we just come up with ways to hate greatness for whatever reason. But anyway, yeah, I like his really physical style of play. I think it's really cool. Weaknesses: physical style is unlikely to translate. His success in college, dude, came mostly from overpowering people. Probably can't do that at the NBA level. And then he must become an elite shooter to stick, because a lot of his shot creation and stuff is what made him interesting. If he's not going to convert at a high level, I don't necessarily know what else we're going to do then. Maybe he can become a better off-ball shooter. His defensive role is unclear. He doesn't project as a plus defender at any one position in particular, so we've got to improve a lot of like the lateral movements and some of the instincts if we really want to get better at that end. But I just think he's such an interesting, like, physical prospect, and I like the toughness and the grit. I think it could be something. So that's why I have Tanja at 30. Number 29, Colin Murray Boyles. This might be a little bit lower than some people think. South Carolina sophomore power forward. Power forward specifically, we're going to say. Strengths: multi-positional defensive upside. He's strong, he's a versatile defender, feels like he can guard kind of anyone, take a lot of contact. That's great. Short roll playmaking potential. He is a pretty good passer overall, so if he's kind of setting those short roll situations, you've got a really ball dominant guard that's an elite scorer. They're going to be icing him, you hit him for the short roll. I trust that he's going to be able to run that pretty effectively. High floor in the right system. With tailored development and a very specific scheme fit, I think he could become a really dynamic role player and have some two-way value, kind of like a Draymond Green type of thing, right? He doesn't fit everywhere, but if you have the right system, oh, it could be really pretty. Weaknesses: unreliable jumper. We know this dude can't shoot worth shit right now. He's got tweener concerns. He doesn't project as a rim defender or like a downhill scorer, despite being in a position where we'd probably like to get somewhere or pick one of those sides. Because if you're going to be a forward, I'd like you to kind of be able to attack the rim. And if you're not going to be or if you can't really block a shot, you can't really be a center. So I'm not really sure where we're going to put him there. And then system dependent projection. I really think he needs a coaching staff that is going to cater things to him, which is hard to ask of rookies. You really have to earn that trust. So I just think it's going to be really, really difficult to maximize on this potential. Like, because there's some interesting stuff here. It's just, it's going to take a very specific scheme to actualize it in its current state. So that's why I have Murray Boyles maybe lower than what a lot of people would expect, but just is what it is. Number 28, Noah Asenge. This is a guy that also is potentially like a lottery pick. And I've got him down here at 28. And again, realize what that means, where I'm putting them and how I'm ranking them. Go watch the beginning of the video if you haven't. We have a French forward here. We finally got his like official measurements recently. Big ass dude. Strengths: strong athletic foundation. He's a pretty fluid mover. He's got some above average bursts for his size. That's always going to be intriguing, right? Productive in a pro setting. Like, despite, like, if you really double click into the film, it isn't always the most interesting, but regardless, he's playing in a really elite league right now at a really young age, and he is impacting it, which is awesome. And then I wrote scalable defensive upside. At his best, he can defend in space and switch across multiple positions with tools that hint at long-term versatility. He's athletic, he's got a good frame, he's got some okay instincts right now. You can make a really good defensive player out of that. It's not any more complicated than that. Weaknesses: limited offensive polish. He struggles as a shooter, doesn't really have great playmaking vision, and needs significant improvement with his ball handling. He is really bad with his hands, like really, really bad with his hands. Like, it's giving me Rudy Gobert, like Vietnam flashbacks, and it's scary a little bit. Defensive inconsistency. You expect this out of young players, but I'm pointing it out regardless. Flashes impressive sequences, but they lack focus and discipline from possession to possession. He gets broken down and finds himself out of position a lot. Again, young players, it's going to happen. Developmental uncertainty. Production outpaces his skill refinement, so let me explain what that means. We're seeing some pretty solid production out of him right now, but what we're actually like seeing him do on the court doesn't match it. And what I mean is, like, we're seeing him put up points, but it's because nobody's guarding him, right? Like, nobody's really doing anything to try to stop him. Teams are kind of letting him do whatever. So are we seeing a lot more results than we actually should be, right? That's kind of a concern that I have. I feel like his trajectory is going to depend heavily on coaching and development. And like, look, everybody does, but I think his is especially dependent on that. So I've got him a little bit lower. I just don't really know what to do with him right now, but I'd be lying if I didn't say he was a super impressive physical specimen. So that's where I've got Mr. Asenge. Number 27, Maxime Reynaud out of Stanford, senior. Strengths for him: legitimate stretch 5 value. He's got some shooting touch out there for sure, which is really cool when you can run like some 5-out offenses. That's where teams often like to be. Highly cerebral player. This dude was picking things up really quickly, like especially in like workout settings and stuff. Like, you tell him shit, he's going, right? right? Like, he knows exactly where to be at all times. He's a smart kid. He went to Stanford. That doesn't surprise me. And then I wrote underrated vertical athlete. While he's not like mobile laterally, he shows a lot of solid leaping ability off 2 feet, which helps him contest shots and finish plays above the rim in traffic, which is really helpful. You're big and you can jump high. Great. Nobody can touch you. That's awesome. Weaknesses. Lacks lateral quickness. We kind of already talked about that. He's not going to probably be able to stay in front of ball handlers always, which, look, with centers, you shouldn't really expect that anyway, but it is something. If people try to get him switch, or if you want to run a switching defense, he might not be the best for that. And then defensive reads are still developing. While he is a very smart player, he is often late to a lot of rotations, but I trust that if you get the right coaches in front of him, he'll probably figure it out pretty quickly. So I think you could have like a modern Brook Lopez type of dude here. Just going to take a little bit of tweaking, but overall, this could be a really highly impactful player. So that's what I got to say with Mr. Reynaud here. Number 26, Yegor Demean? I don't remember. You guys know I suck at names. It just is what it is. BYU freshman guard. Strengths, elite processing and playmaking vision. I don't think I need to explain that to you guys. Basically, he's really good at passing the basketball and running an offense. Enticing positional tools. At nearly 6'9", has the length, coordination, and movement skills to project as a jumbo initiator, which that's just exciting in and of itself when you can find guys like that. Right? By the way, there's an ambulance going by. Damn, ambulance is ruining my videos. But yeah, no, big guy that can handle the basketball a little bit. That's always going to be interesting. Weaknesses, lack of shooting foundation. There's just no consistent track record with him being able to shoot the basketball right now. Limited ability to pressure defenses. He's not really getting to the rim like anything super crazy. So how much can his passing skill set really be utilized right now if you can't actually get into the paint at all? It's pretty limited then, right? And then inconsistent defensive physicality. He uses his length pretty well, but lacks the core strength and positional toughness to stay attached. I'm not sure how much bigger he's actually going to get, and he's not really like fighting through screens or doing anything that crazy to try to make up for it, so I don't really know how impactful he's going to be defensively with all that said and done. So it's going to be more of a project, but look, you just don't see many guys that size that can kind of move like that, so it's always going to be interesting for that reason alone. Moving to number 25, Thomas Sorber. I feel like this is maybe where a lot of people expect him. A Georgetown freshman center. Some strengths. Exceptional feel and reactivity. Reads the game well, especially in short roll situations. Consistently keeps offensive flow alive with timely passes and decisions. Like, he blends in, which is good, which is something you want out of young people. You don't want them to kind of stand out and like catch the ball and be thinking about it all the time. Like, it really feels like he just knows where to be. Box score production at a young age. Just like, which seems kind of like a weird thing to say, but like, dude he was getting a lot of points, blocking a lot of shots, getting a ton of rebounds for a younger center in a pretty prominent conference. Like, that's pretty impressive. So we got to give him some praise for that. And then hand-eye coordination and instincts. He's really coordinated for a guy his size. Like, he wasn't dropping the ball a ton. Like, he's holding on to it well, which is less common than you think for big guys at this size. Weaknesses, undersized and lacks vertical pop. He's not the biggest center in the world, and he can't quite jump very high right now. I do think he hasn't quite grown into his body completely, despite him being extremely heavy, and that's probably what's keeping him maybe off the ground a little bit as well. I do just think he's still kind of got like a little bit of like baby face, baby body kind of going on, and that just does limit you, right? You can't really jump, and you're a little bit smaller, so I don't know. I did write he's still kind of growing into his body, physically underdeveloped relative to his peers. He's going to need to reshape his frame, and then limited creation ability. He's not going to generate any offense himself. We just don't see anything like that in his game right now, so going to be limited on that end, but could project as a solid backup defensive center. But yeah, that's Mr. Sorber here. Number 24, a guy that might be higher than some people would think, Janai Broom, the senior Auburn center. Strengths, proven collegiate track record. He's produced high level across multiple programs and conferences, winning a lot of different awards. He's dominated everywhere that he's went. So despite having to learn a couple different ways of playing basketball, he's made it work everywhere that he's been, which is extremely impressive. Elite physical toughness and rebounding instincts. He knows how to use his strength. His timing's really good. Like, he's got all the little things down that you expect a senior to have. So when you combine all that physicalness with good intangibles, good things tend to happen as a center. And then a crafty interior scorer. He's got good footwork and touch around the basket. The left-handed hook is kind of like the main thing that he likes to go to, and he's going to have to get a little bit, or he's going to have to add more in terms of creativity to get to other like higher heights, I guess, as a player, but right now it's pretty good for just coming into the NBA. Weaknesses: limited vertical athleticism. Most of his games below the rim. While we've seen him punch a couple cool ones before, that's just not in high quantity, so that's always going to be a little bit iffy. But that's not necessarily the role I see him playing anyway. Concerns in space defensively. He doesn't really have the foot speed to really do a lot of switching or high hedging right now. And then offensive predictability. Again, the left hook that's what he does, right? So anything beyond that might get a little bit easy to figure out, but I kind of just envision him as being like the tough-minded backup center that's going to fight for a lot of rebounds, block a couple shots, just really bruise people coming into the paint. So I think it's a very simple role for him to fall into, and he doesn't really need to be much more than that. So that's why I like him at 24. Looks like my recording's about to go over an hour. Number 23, Ben Serif here, out of another Israeli player, like Asenge's not Israeli, but playing for kind of the same team, and I categorized him as a point guard. Some people called him more of a combo guard, which maybe, but I called him a point guard. Strengths: elite deceleration and pace control. One of the best ways to get open is to speed up and speed down, or just you guys know what I'm talking about. Speed up and then slow down. That's the best way to kind of get yourself open, and he has that. He really gets it, which is pretty uncommon for people his age. I wrote creative offensive manipulator. Uses ball fakes. He's got some hesitations now. He's got the angled footwork, which means like you know where to point your feet to go, like where you want to go, which means that he can get himself into really valuable positions as a creator, which is awesome. And then I wrote craft-based scoring upside. Since his game is so skill-driven already, it really lends you to say like, okay, we can give you more skills. Like we can teach you how to do this, teach you how to do this, teach you how to do this, and we think that we could just keep building on your game to add more and more to it, and that can really give you a higher level of potential there. Some weaknesses: unreliable perimeter shooter. He just doesn't have a ton of consistency beyond the arc right now, and he's not really doing much without the basketball either, which that's just going to limit you because look, there's not many people that get to actually have the basketball in the NBA, right? So if he's not one of those guys, I'm not really sure what he's doing without the ball right now. He's one-hand dominant. Reliance on the left hand restricts passing angles and limits finishing versatility. So yeah, again, kind of a guy that I don't think is great with both hands right now, which is always really frustrating when you're this age. And like, I just feel like that's something you should have down by like middle school, high school age, in all honesty. But maybe that's just maybe I'm coming from a different time frame of thought on that. And then finishing and decision making lags behind. Often misreads help, forces contested looks, needs to sharpen his kind of spatial awareness. You guys have heard me say in videos, I think he's got steps 1, 2, and 3 down of offense. Like he can really start plays off, but I think he just doesn't really finish them very well right now. He's got a lot of cool tricks in the bag, but oftentimes he makes the wrong decisions, and some of the foreign scouts were just telling me like coaches have really been on him about it all season. It hasn't gotten much better, so we'll see. He's a young guy, so we're going to give him some time, but overall, got some places to grow, but enough to be 23 on the list right now. Number 22, Liam McNeely, a freshman out of UConn, a wing here. Some strengths: reliable spot-up shooter with sound mechanics. Form looks great. As long as he is just sitting still and shooting, dude is a bucket. High-level feel for off-ball awareness. He knows how to move around screens, which is awesome. He understands spacing, timing, all of those things you expect out of UConn players. As far as weaknesses go, limited lateral quickness. He's just not the most athletic person in the world. He's just not going to be like the quickest guy in the world necessarily. He's not going to be jumping out of the gym or anything like that. So he could get targeted defensively a little bit, though he is strong, which and I think he could put even more on his frame. So that'll help out a little bit. On-ball creation ceiling, he is pretty rough with the basketball right now. I know he had the ball a decent amount this year, but his numbers are much, much lower when he does, which is concerning to say the least at times. So it kind of limits you to being an off-ball guy. Not the worst thing in the world, but again, we're talking about ceiling. And then defensive value may cap his minutes. While sound conceptually, he's unlikely to be a net positive defender without some physical developments. Again, like if you're just not quick enough to keep people in front of you, or you just have trouble chasing people around screens and stuff like that, if you can't really get skinny, you will just be limited defensively, much like being small. If you're not quick enough and you can't stay in front of people, that's a problem as well. So yeah, that's 22, Mr. McNeely. I think he'll just be a nice off-ball shooter that maybe could be a solid rebounder in the NBA. 21, Hugo Gonzalez, wing out of Spain, playing for Real Madrid this last year. Strengths, high level, defensive, what did we write? Reactivity. Interesting. Possesses actions quickly, or processes actions quickly on the defensive end. He's anticipating plays well, which is good. He's a smart team defender. NBA aligned shot profile. Basically the shots that he likes to take right now fit an NBA style game, which I think is great. His kind of first go-to shots are the ones that you would want to teach to guys like this when they get there right away. Then coachability and developmental mindset. He's again one of these guys that's coming really highly regarded for like a crazy work ethic, really good with structure, really well coached. So you'd like to think that you can build something with that, because that's just kind of one of those skills. You guys often ask me, what are kind of the underappreciated skills for getting drafted? Being coachable. If you can be coachable, oh my God, then you can actually get better at basketball. So it's a big deal. Weaknesses, unproven perimeter shooting. He's not super reliable from out there. Limited control as a driver. He's going there with ferocity, but it's kind of out of control at times, which again, hopefully with some coaching, we can figure it out. And then offensive value is tied to one swing skill. Without some functional shooting, offensive impact becomes heavily dependent on him making effort plays and being more athletic than everybody else. So we got to get the shooting down. Otherwise, we're not quite sure you can be an NBA wing per se. I think I'm going to do the rest of this video standing up. Much better. Let's keep this going. Number 20, Cedric Coward, Washington State senior guard. Again, one of those guys that kind of came up through the combine. Some people have him like really high on board, some people not as high. On the video you guys will see tomorrow, we'll show off kind of some of the range of that. Let's talk about some strengths. Reliable shooting mechanics. He's smooth, right? It's sound. Like I got no notes for him. Dude can shoot the basketball. Looks really clean. Defensive tools and mindset. He's got good length, good instincts. He looks like he really wants to make an impact on the defensive end. While it isn't always apparent, I think it could be pretty good at an NBA level overall. And then he's a smart off-ball mover. He knows when to cut. He knows how to move around screens, which is good because he is such a good shooter, and he doesn't necessarily have the ball skills to go get his own shot right now, which I'm sure we're going to talk about on there. We do. So he's going to need to have that if he wants to have an offensive impact. Weaknesses, unproven self-creation. Doesn't do much with the ball right now. Hasn't shown the ability to consistently generate offense in isolation or pick and roll situations, which are kind of the most common things in the NBA. At this point, he just kind of likes to put his back to the basket and take those tough shots. Then lateral quickness. It's hard to tell where this skill is currently because we just don't have a ton of film on him necessarily. Length plays a large part, but can he recover with his feet? Not so sure. I'm not positive. I probably went on the lower end of most people with him, but that's where I got him. Number 19, Noah Penda. Again, I might have him a little bit higher than other people, but we got a French forward here. I really like Penda. Strengths, outstanding positional size and physicality. This dude's a tank for his age. Like, the first time I watched him, I was like, holy cow, that's a big kid. He is big, he is strong, and he knows it. He is running right into people, and I just love it. Then I wrote well-rounded skill set. He can pass a little bit, handle a little bit, make decisions in transitions. It looks like he can really be a two-way wing and kind of be like a connecting piece on offense, which is really cool. Defensive toughness and awareness. He's disruptive. He holds his ground. He's trying to read actions. Definitely takes some risks at times, but like, dude you can tell he is trying to make an impact defensively, which is awesome for a guy that big and physical. Weaknesses, unproven shooting track record. Again, typical with these younger wings, but the jump shot showed promise. Remains a small sample. Swing skill that could determine long-term value. So if he could become a good outside shooter, then yeah, we probably got something here, and that's kind of going to be the biggest thing for him. Foot speed risk with added size. So if he continues to, like, I'm basically saying don't get any bigger than you currently are right now, otherwise you might become a liability in terms of like your quickness, right? And there just is a balance that you have to maintain. So while it's cool right now, don't get any bigger, please. You're good the way you are. You don't really need to physically develop you anymore. So that's kind of the thought with Penda. I think he could be a really cool connecting piece and just a really interesting physical specimen. Moving on, number 18, Will Riley, freshman wing out of Illinois. Strengths, confident downhill attacker. He's aggressive, and he's really intent on like starting his own offense. He'll slash to the rim. He'll exploit gaps off the catch, which is always a fun thing to see. So you got this like 6'8" guy that really wants to attack the rim, and he can handle the ball a bit. That's exciting. Emerging playmaking craft. So we saw not anything stupendous, but enough interesting things to be like, huh, maybe you could do some ball handling and do a little bit of passing in the NBA, right? That's kind of exciting for a guy his size. And then instinctive feel to offensive flow, displays some natural timing and spatial awareness, which a lot of that just seemed like Illinois coached it pretty well this last season. But yeah, he seems like he could be a secondary creator down the line. Weaknesses, inconsistent shooting mechanics. Yeah, like we watched it during the video, his shooting was just kind of all over the place in his form. So while it wasn't like completely inefficient, we're going to need to solidify some of the intangibles there. Physicality concerns, frame may cap his ability to deliver contact if he wants to keep being a slasher. He doesn't look like one of those guys that's going to put on a ton of weight. We kind of talked about those different body types earlier in the game. If he was to run into Noah Penda, he might shatter. And then a longer developmental runway again. Again, probably just going to take a little bit longer for him to actualize his potential because of some of the physicality limitations and just not being consistent at one given thing right now. But again, it's probably worth taking the swing on a guy with this level of skill set already. But yeah, I like Will Riley. Let's move on. Number 17, Derek Queen here, the center out of Maryland, a freshman, technically not freshman age, but he's a freshman. Let's talk about some strengths. Skilled and productive offensive big. He's got good footwork. He's got good touch, passing feel, makes him natural for like scoring, like the scoring playmaking hub that we see out of like Sabonis, Şengün, guys like that, right? Then we have elite basketball instincts. He's processing the game at a high level. He's making quick decisions. He can manipulate defenders, which is really, really cool. And he found a couple different scoring angles at times, hit some clutch shots. Awesome. Weaknesses, defensive concerns. He's not very quick, and he doesn't really have any rim protection, so that's always concerning when your center can't play defense, right? Because that's kind of your last line of defense. If he's not going to be that for you, well, you have to have a lot of good defenders around him then. Like, you can't have, like, another bad defender on the team if your center can't play defense, right? I should say on the court at any given time. Physical conditioning. A little bit worried about that, especially after seeing him in person. I'm like, ooh, can I really put you out there for more than 20 minutes a game right now, my guy? Again, maybe not the best like pure athlete in the world. And then dependence on offensive ceiling. If he doesn't become a shooter, then I think it's a little bit scary, right? Because a lot of the things that he likes to do is just not successful at an NBA level, which is like having the ball, kind of creating it for yourself, like as a big. And if you can't step out and hit a three as well, it's not efficient offense. It just isn't. So it's very fit dependent. But yeah, he really has to develop that skill. Otherwise, he could become really irrelevant really fast. But overall, it's enticing. A guy like this, there's a reason he's this high on the board. So anyway, let's move on. Number 16. Oh no, y'all got a little sneak peek. Y'all didn't see that shit. Hopefully you guys are just listening like you're supposed to, not actually watching. Number 16, Jeremiah Fears, freshman point guard out of Oklahoma. Strengths, exceptional ball handling and separation skills. For a guy his age, he can get himself open when he has the basketball. As the kids would say, he's got a bag to him, right? Like he can go create a shot, which is always fun to see. Then I wrote highly skilled offensive technician, possesses advanced scoring tools and a deep understanding of how to manufacture looks in isolation. So kind of building off that last one, I suppose. Then potential high volume production. You could totally see him as a guy that you could throw out there and he might score 30 points in an NBA game on any given night, right? Given the chance to develop and then where his skill set's at right now, there's a really high offensive ceiling here. Weaknesses, off-ball disengagement. When he doesn't have the basketball, he is not doing shit. He's got what I call James Harden disease. Questionable shooting consistency. The pull-up and catch and shoot results remain inefficient. I think it'll come around. I think it's just not great right now. Mind you, again, he's a very young player. There's a lot of time to develop that type of skill set. I don't have super long-term concerns, but it's not apparent right now. And then limited defensive engagement. Dude just didn't try hard enough on defense. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. There just wasn't enough going on there, and that bothers me at times. But there's a lot of skill here and a lot of potential, and he is very young, and he's going to get a lot of time to develop. So you give him the right system, and you could have a very valuable player in basketball. And I always just mention it in the videos. Like, I don't think he's like an elite athlete like some other people like tend to say that he is. Like, I just don't see it. At the beginning of the year, they were kind of trying to call him Russell Westbrook, and I'm like, no, not even fucking close. So yeah, is what it is. Let's move on. You guys kind of already saw this one. Number 15, Walter Clayton Jr., Florida point guard. He was a senior, just won the national championship. Some strengths, advanced pull-up scoring gravity. He creates separation with kind of that quick little jerky game that he's got to him, and he can hit He can hit a jumper from anywhere. I'm super, super confident in that. Compact athleticism and body control. I'm trying to think of like who he reminds me of. Um, I don't necessarily know, but like you wouldn't just look at him and think that he's a crazy athlete, but he like kind of is. He's just doing it in a very controlled way. So he might not be like running up to like actually just like yam it on you, but like he's like playing under such pace and playing off 2 feet and then getting up like really high for these layups, and it's really smooth and I really like it. And then competitive defensive mindset. I say he plays with strength and effort on the defensive end, compensating for his lack of size. Yeah, he felt pretty impactful for not being the biggest guy in the world. Like he's using his hands, doing everything that he can, which I really like. Weaknesses: still developing as a primary decision maker, needs refinement as a passer in certain ball screen actions, currently more scorer than he is facilitator, so something to work on there. And then role transition uncertainty. I'm wondering if it's going to take him time to adapt from being the primary guy to more so of a role player in the NBA, like he'll probably be right away. I think he could be a high-level role player day one in the NBA, I really do, but what's it going to be like when you're not getting shots all the time? What type of scorer are you actually? That's just a general question that I feel like I should ask. Moving on. Number 14, Nick Clifford, maybe higher than you guys would think. Senior forward out of Colorado State. Strength: versatile two-way skill set. Brings a balanced mix of on-ball competence, connecting passing, defensive reliability, and he's in an NBA-ready body. Like, you just tell someone that, and it's like, oh, that sounds great. Basically, I think you got an NBA role player day one. I think he can he can keep moving the basketball around. He can step out and hit a shot if he absolutely needs to. He's going to be competent defensively. I just think he's going to be fine, like, day one. And then high processing role player. He makes timely decisions, reads the floor well, contributes without needing like a lot of high usage. Again, just feels like he's going to be a role player day one. Weaknesses: inconsistent shooting rhythm. He was a little bit inconsistent from outside the arc this year. Just going to be something we need to get some reps in for. And then limited upside as a creator. He feels more reactive than proactive with the basketball, which again, he showed some cool skills this season, but I don't think he's ever going to be like really running offense. But not everybody's going to be able to. But overall, I think you'll get a really nice role player out of Nick Clifford. So that's why I got him at number 14. Let's move on. Number 13, Rasheer Fleming, the junior forward out of St. Joseph's. Let's talk about some strengths. Functional athleticism with size. He's got the frame and explosiveness to be at like a hybrid 4 in the NBA right away. He's got an NBA-ready body, and he's athletic. So that's exciting in and of itself. Should be able to take contact day one and blend in amongst all the other men out there. Stretch potential in the front court. He did just shoot the basketball well, and he did it very confidently. So if you can be a pick and pop type guy or a trailing big or a lob threat amongst all that, that's all the things you want out of an NBA 4. And then high energy presence. He brings intensity and motor on both ends, which helps him generate second chance opportunities. That's great. If you can do all of these things well, you can contribute day one in the NBA. Weaknesses: inconsistent shooting mechanics. While the ball was going in, there's a lot of variance in his jump shot, and so I'm a little bit hesitant of it, right? I'm going to be a little bit hesitant. And then limited creation. He doesn't create for himself. He waits for other people to make mistakes, capitalizes on them, and that's his offense, which, look, you need more people like that, honestly. More people that can do that at a high level in the NBA. I just think it's important to be able to play without the basketball. It does cap your long-term potential if you're not creating for yourself, right? I'm saying he's basically like, I don't think he's going to be an all-star, right? Because he's not creating offense for himself. But overall, I think high-impact day one type of dude. Let's move on to number 12, another little bit older guy here. Danny Wolf, the junior forward, maybe center out of Michigan. Strengths, very obvious. First one, rare size combo skill. He's a legitimate big man, 9-foot standing reach with legit perimeter skills. Like if you were to shrink him down, he moves just like a point guard, which is super, super cool. He can pass, he can handle, and he can stretch the floor. Modern offensive fit. He can be a 5-out type guy. He's got a high IQ. He knows how to connect via different offensive sets. Really good touch and vision, like super easy to see how he fits right away. I don't really see too many people putting him this high on the board, but I just think something like that is crazy. And then I just have general offensive versatility. He can initiate from the top of the key as a dribble handoff type guy or just spacing behind the arc. He can be a cutter. Like, it's just the sky's kind of the limit with this dude offensively. It's super interesting. Weaknesses: defensive mobility limitations. May not have the lateral quickness to contain an NBA level driver. So while he might be able to be an offensive force, forward? Can he be a defensive forward? And that just is different. And then inconsistent shooting mechanics again, range, or he's showing some range, but we just got to stabilize him a little bit. And a lot of it is him trying to create off the dribble. So maybe if he isn't doing that quite as much at the NBA level, we can kind of hone in on some of the shooting things. But overall, I really like Danny Wolf. I think he'd be a really fun player to try to mess with as an offense. I can just kind of do whatever with him. So, yeah, I think it's cool. Number 11, Nolan Traore here. Maybe higher than what you guys would have thought. We have a French point guard. Strengths, advanced playmaking instincts, reads the floor with maturity beyond his years. Again, one of the more elite playmaking prospects I've seen in a while. Strong vision and timing. He's composed with the ball. He's just not turning the ball over very much, especially in a very competitive and elite league. Like, he just is playing in a more competitive league than any of these college guys were, which tells me like that should be some long-term value that you're getting out of him. And then poised lead guard potential, operates with maturity, communicates well, brings balance and approach to running an offense. Again, it just feels like at a floor, he can like just keep your team under control, and I think he's going to be around for a while. Weaknesses, questionable shooting projection. So he gets to all the right places, but can he actually finish them? Right now, no. The shooting was not very good this last year. And then I'm saying another weakness, the ceiling is tied to skill growth. Without development as a shooter and a scorer, his long-term outcome may settle as backup caliber rather than the starter level impact he could have. Again, you're going to need to get a lot better than where you're at, but there is a high ceiling to this guy. So like, and that's not uncommon, right? It isn't. I know that's kind of a weird weakness to say that like, hey, you got to get better if you really want to get somewhere, but his current skill set isn't good enough. It just isn't to be a high impact player that you might want to take in the top 10. So you really got to work on a couple things, but yeah, I like him a lot. I'm a big fan of Nolan. Let's move up to number 10. I got Knipple. I'm going to take another second to drink some water. Oh my God, I've been talking for a while. Knipple, freshman forward out of Duke. Yeah, we're starting to get into the real familiar names now, right? We're almost to the end, y'all. It's going to be my longest YouTube video ever, but yeah, you know, this is probably the one that I've put technically the most time and hours into, right? Just because of the hours upon hours, hundreds of hours of watching film this year, and is going into all of the thoughts you see here. I wish I could show you the full document. It's much more detailed than this, but I can't. Anyway, strengths for Khan, elite shooting touch. It doesn't take much to say, like, you just look at this guy and you're like, yeah, he's probably a good shooter, right? That's a white kid joke. But no, he's got a really good shot to him, and it was successful right away. Well-rounded offensive skill set. At the least at the college level, he could handle, he could pass, he can make quick decisions. So he showed he was more than just a floor spacer. Not sure if it's actually good enough at the NBA level to be impactful there, but there's at least potential to hit those things, right? And then I wrote composed and competitive. He's mature, he's tough, he doesn't look like he gets sped up at all for his age, which I just think is enormous of a thing in and of itself, and he's always making team first smart plays. Those things are so valuable, and it's cool to see it out of a freshman already. Weaknesses. Just lateral quickness is what I said. He is not the best athlete in the world. May be hard for him to keep some really elite wings in front of him, and that may cap his long-term potential in the NBA. But overall, pretty solid player. Number 9, Carter Bryant, the freshman forward out of Arizona. Yeah, I got him at number 9. I really do. Strength, strong defensive foundation. He's competitive with some size, some switchability, and some solid instincts to at least start off with as a freshman. So there's a lot to like in a very cool like NBA body. Projectable shooting stroke. His mechanics and touch look good right now. While it wasn't a high usage, it was effective so far. So you can see the 3-and-D kind of appeal to him. And then positional versatility. He should be able to hold up against guards, wings, and bigs in the NBA with how physically gifted he is already, which is cool. Weaknesses. He can't create anything for himself right now. He's just limited in that area. Passing and vision needs developing, so not only is he not creating for himself, he's not creating for others either. And then general uncertainty. If the secondary skills stall out, might be a low usage type of player, right? Like, we need him to develop a couple more skills to really actualize all of this, right? Or even just make sure the primary skills are legit what they think, because we didn't see a ton of minutes of this guy. But the potential is extremely high with this kid. Like, crazy good athlete, crazy good like NBA body, and some really good like fundamentals so far. It's can we just make it all come together, right? Can we actually make it all come together? Number 8, Asa Newell here. Maybe higher than some people might have him. He's a Georgia big man. He's a freshman. Some strengths. Elite physical tools. He's got a good vertical. He's got great mobility and length that allows him to impact plays offensively and defensively, which is always fun. I wrote ground coverage and rotational potential. Shows flashes as a rangy help defender who can contest shots, close out well, and recover with fluidity. He just moves so well for his size. Like, he can cover so much space in such a quick amount of time. I just think that's awesome. And then defensive scalability, I wrote. Projects as a scheme versatile defender who could hold value as a weak side rim protector or a switchable forward. So kind of like the PJ Washington type of thing, where he can do a little bit of everything, like can play some center, can throw him out as a forward as well to guard other people on the perimeter. I just think the defensive versatility is awesome. Weaknesses: lacks offensive identity. We have just no clue what he's going to do offensively outside of just running to the rim and dunking the basketball right now. That's why I wrote just outside of rolling to the rim. Georgia's offensive system was stupid, so we just didn't get to see really him do anything else. And then I wrote inconsistent shooting mechanics. We're hoping that he can become a good outside shooter because he was able to hit some shots from out there, but it's inconsistent right now, and that's going to obviously cap his potential if he can't figure that stuff out. So yeah, fun player nonetheless. Number 7, Trey Johnson, freshman guard out of Texas. Strength: high-level shooting profile. Dude can shoot it from literally anywhere on the basketball court. Mature work ethic and mentality. I've seen this guy work out in person now at this point, and holy cow, like, that dude goes hard in the gym, which is cool. Like, he's attacking that, like, the game with a purpose, and I think that that's awesome. Natural scoring instincts. Yep, when he's out there and he has the basketball in his hands, he knows that he can go and score from anywhere, which is cool. He's so adaptable and so moldable. It's a lot of fun. Weaknesses: lacks physical strength. Doesn't really finish in contact very well, which again, you hope that he fills out. He's young right now, but that's just where he's at currently. He's not a primary creator. I wrote yet. Limited burst, and he doesn't have a great handle right now. Probably best suited as a secondary option currently. I think he'd be best as like a 6-man type of scorer right now. He's not really creating for anybody else or doing anything else offensively outside of hitting his own shot, which is still valuable. Role dependent, early value. I wrote could be less effective if asked to do too much too soon. Again, he hits jump shots. That's what he does right now. He hits jump shots better than anybody. Nothing else that he does is really like that impressive currently. So I would give him time to grow. That's why I say 6-man type of guy right away. Give him some time to develop until then. But overall, dude is a walking bucket. Moving on, number 6, Kasparas Yakachonis, the Illinois freshman point guard. Some of you might have expected him to be number 5, but I actually have him at number 6. Strengths: high-level feel and vision. He is the best passer. He understands just basketball spacing better than anyone else in this draft class. He reads defenses like instantly. It's so incredibly impressive. Versatile offensive skill set. He can catch off the shoot. He can dribble. He can operate as a secondary creator. He just thrives with or without the basketball offensively. It's really impressive to see. And then he's got positional size and adaptability. He has the physical profile and skill set to fit into multiple lineup types without needing the ball. So you can just do a lot with him because of his ability combined with the body frame that he's in. Weaknesses: limited on-ball separation. He's not creating clear advantages off the dribble right now, and he doesn't have a ton of burst necessarily. He's got like a pretty decent like first rip, and his cut's pretty effective, but overall, it's not crazy yet. Finishing against length, because he's not like jumping out of the gym or anything, he's going to struggle against other people his size. I feel like he takes a lot of advantage off of smaller people currently. And then uncertain primary scoring upside. He most likely projects as the high-level connector rather than a true offensive engine, while some of like the step back stuff is cool. I think what he's going to be best at is eventually getting the ball handling better, like getting past his guy, and then just like creating offense from there. I'm not sure he's ever going to be like that 20-point a game guy, right? But I think he'll be like a really, really elite, just like starter in the NBA with time, just because of how smart he is. So big fan of Yakachonis. Moving on to number 5, Kaman Maluach. I know, I got him pretty high. The freshman Duke center. Let's talk about strengths. Just elite physical profile, right? The fact that he's this big, this strong, this coordinated at his age, he moves fluidly. It is Oh my gosh, like you can just salivate over that. It's amazing. Strong developmental foundation. He's extremely coachable, high character, clear willingness to want to get better. That stuff is so apparent in him right away. This guy wants to be great, which is awesome. And I know that just sounds like a nonsense thing, but it's harder to find than than it should be. Defensive projection. He should be a reliable rim defender and defensive anchor with time. As soon as you give him more exposure, it just seems so easy for this guy to become an elite defensive player. Weaknesses: raw offensive game. He doesn't really do much in the post, and he's not really like an interior force at all, like of just like getting the ball and just going up and like dunking on you. It's really just kind of catch and dunk right now. And then questionable shooting upside. We're hearing rumors that he could be a good shooter, but nothing there as of right now. But overall, I still think it's the potential is sky high for this guy, and I'm really excited to see him get to the NBA. Number 4, we're getting into the top 4, right? Let's finish this off strong. VJ Edgecombe, freshman guard out of Baylor. Strengths: elite functional athleticism. I've said it before, 10.5 out of 10 athlete. That's how good he is. Disruptive high motor defender. He forces turnovers. He pressures the ball. He impacts passing lanes, even though he's not the smartest defensive player ever. He's got a ton of energy on that end, and he's making things happen. Team first offensive approach. Doesn't need the ball. He's cutting. He's relocating for his shooting, which is really great. You love to see that because more guys want to have the basketball than not. Weaknesses: unpolished on-ball creation. So far, it's just, I'm bigger, stronger, and more athletic than you. I'm going to the rim, and you can't stop me. He's going to have to add a little bit of chess to the game, right? And then limited playmaking reads. He doesn't manipulate defenses or make any crazy decisions like with the ball yet that you're super impressed with, but maybe that can come with time and more experience. But overall, incredible upside. I'll say I think he's got all NBA potential. I really do. Number 3, Dylan Harper. Ooh, you thought we were done with surprises, right? Dylan Harper at number 3 on my list. Freshman point guard out of Rutgers here. Maybe this isn't a surprise if you've been watching my channel at all, but strengths: elite downhill pressure, consistently gets into the paint. He's able to get by anybody because he's got such a wide arrangement of moves. Advanced offensive counters. That's something I was just talking about. He reads and reacts quickly to a wide array of different things. It's impressive how deep the bag is, if you would. And then physical mismatch. His size and strength and athleticism is just going to overwhelm really anyone that he would come across in the NBA as well at his positions, which is awesome. Weaknesses: pull-up shooting. He doesn't really have like the mid-range shot necessarily down yet, or just really anything off the dribble, that'll obviously hurt your versatility if you want to be a lead guard, but he's young. Like we're going to give it time, like with all of these weaknesses that we've listed off today. And then perimeter defensive consistency. I said while he's competitive, his footwork and awareness needs some tightening if he wants to be a really elite player like we want him to be. So just some nitpicky stuff there. Like we got to work on some of the defensive stuff. Number 2, we have Ace Bailey, the other Rutgers player, freshman forward. Strengths: prototypical NBA wing. He's got size, length, athleticism, and catch and shoot threat that every single player and coach salivates over, right? You just look at this and you're like, yep, that's how I designed an NBA player if I wanted to be one, right? Flashes of defensive upside. He has the physical traits to become a versatile defender with time. He's shown moments of being super disruptive despite inconsistent engagement. And then long-term star potential, I just wrote, if his skill development catches up to his physical gifts, he's just going to be phenomenal, right? Because he is the most gifted. He's probably got the most upside in this draft. Weaknesses: doesn't have a lot of functional strength right now. He needs to get a lot stronger in his lower body to fully harness all the athleticism if he wants to be a nice driver when he gets to the NBA. Incomplete offensive package. He struggles to finish through contact. He kind of gathers in a weird way when he gets to the rim right now, so we need to work on some of the slashing ability. And again, a lot of that's just going to come with one, just being on a better basketball team where there's not only 2 people that can do anything with the basketball, right? And the whole other team is watching them the whole time, but just has to get stronger, and that's what it'll be. And then development chain is fragile. It requires teaching. A lack of strong foundational coaching places him behind other prospects. So basically what that means is like, there's just a lot more rawness to his game compared to some of the other guys in his category, the VJ Harpers and Flags, right? So if we're not actually going to put some like effort behind this, it's not going to be as apparent as to how good he is in comparison to some of the other guys. But yeah, Ace Bailey, I think the highest potential in this draft. Then number 1, Cooper Flagg. Yeah, the freshman Duke center. Let's finish this off strong. Two-way versatility. He's going to impact the game across multiple positions in the NBA day one, and that's awesome. You can put him on any roster and you're going to have success with him. High-level defensive instincts, elite timing, positioning, and anticipation already. It looks awesome. Mature mentality and processing. He's competing at a pro level. It just feels like he's got a pro level demeanor to him, which is crazy for him being younger than he actually well, he's younger than most people coming into the draft, right? Weaknesses. Creation is kind of still coming into its own right now. While there's some cool flashes of it, it's not at an elite level yet, like maybe a Dylan Harper. And then shooting consistency. The mechanics I wrote are meh. The perimeter shot still needs to become more reliable under pressure and when he's moving. But overall, one of the more elite prospects we've seen in a very, very long time. Hooey, that was a lot of talking. So there you have it, y'all. That's the big board. Hopefully you found this interesting. I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts. I hope I was able to waste enough of your Monday, just kind of help you get through the week with this video. I was really, really excited to share this with you guys because again, this is more of a look into my professional side, if you would. Again, I wish I could share everything with you guys, but you know, there's limitations to those things. But with all that being said, please give this video a like, a comment, and all those things. Share it with some people. First video of draft week. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff coming out this week for you guys to watch in relation to the draft. Finals are also finishing up. We'll have a live stream at the end of this week where we'll be talking about some things. But with all that being said, let's move on to the comments of the video. Alrighty, y'all. Comment to the video is coming from our mock draft at the end of this last week. It's coming from Benjamin Cook here, who I just thought asked a really relevant question to what we were talking about in this video. He said, is this the most promising draft class you've ever evaluated professionally? This is the 4th draft class that I've professionally looked into, and I would say yes, by far it's the most talented. Like, I feel like really confident about like day one contributors going pretty deep into this list. I mean, you can go, once I get to 16, that's when I start to have questions. Everybody above that, I'm like, yeah, like I can put these guys on an NBA basketball court day one and I can get some something out of them. Even like Carter Bryant, like I think we could under the right circumstances. So he might be the one exception on here though. So yeah, don't get used to draft classes being this talented, and maybe it won't be, right? That's the important thing. That's why I mentioned at the beginning of the video, like don't let me be the only voice you take in right now. Go listen to other people, hear other thoughts, like go seek out more knowledge. I am by no means a god with this stuff. I've got a pretty good track record overall, and that's why I keep getting hired to do things. But ultimately, I'm gonna be wrong about things, and other people have other good thoughts you should hear out too, and that's just good life advice in general. Listen to people, and go seek out more information. But hey, as always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in for my longest video yet. This is the beginning of draft week, and yeah, just really looking forward to you guys being here for all of it. Thanks as always, and have a great week. Bye.